What's up, everybody? Welcome to Juice Pro Wrestling, episode 17. Show no mercy. Show no mercy.
You know, usually when you blow out the mics, you actually kept it's in perfect control.
I got to keep it in control because I got to get ready for that gig on the 26th, the 26th, 27th, 26th.
Promote that bad boy real quick.
Handsome Prick, Sick Tired, and Noisem, legendary grind motherfuckers in Chicago at the Midwest famous Cobra Lounge. So anybody that's been there, come check us out. Doors open at 7. Show starts at 8. We'll probably be on at like 8:45.
That show's tomorrow.
No, that's Thursday.
Tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow, yeah.
That show's tomorrow.
I hope. Is it going to be tomorrow?
It will be tomorrow.
All right. Don't play with my emotions.
That show's tomorrow.
Yeah. So guys, come check that out. You know, we're going to grind your faces in like
Cobra
we always
Lounge
do.
is combined with, I think they got that brewery now, too.
Do they? See, I haven't
it's a
been there in
mix.
like 10 years.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think we played with our last band, Moisten Disciples, up there in 2010-ish, maybe 9. I don't know. But it was a good time nonetheless. They treated us well, so I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah.
Very pumped for the bands that we're playing with. So
Super cool.
maybe that's why I have a little bit of control, you know?
All right, something exciting happened on Sunday. First ever. You want to tell the folks what it was?
Yeah, it was our first ever vintage video game tournament featuring, how apropos is this, WWF No Mercy for the Nintendo 64. And, you know, it was a pretty decent turnout for a first time, and I had a lot of fun. How about you?
I had a great time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Minus my legitimate losing to a 5-year-old.
Zan the Man Butchko, son of Butchman Lee.
Out of all the people that played, I was by far the worst. But I'll be back next time.
Remember how I beat Xander so bad, though, he got upset?
Yeah, so the story was, based on the way we did the tournament, we did a double elimination tournament. And JR, Butchman Lee, his son played. His son's 5 years old. So it was like, you know, lighthearted, but at some point, you know, he's got to get eliminated.
Yeah.
Not by me, unfortunately. But
you tried, too.
I definitely tried.
That's the worst.
He knocked me out of the tournament.
He did.
But so you like warned him beforehand, and you're like, listen, man, like I can't be light on you. We're just gonna play. So then at least you guys played for a few minutes.
Yeah.
You didn't just go, oh, that's it. Like
Well, I kind of really wanted to. I was trying to get that heel heat, you know, like I really wanted to draw that heat.
Oh, that's what everybody saw you as a heel there, anyways. You were already drawing that heat.
Yeah, I like that.
We're like, hey, there he is. That's Juice. He's a
fucking dick.
I like it. Yeah, so you beat him, and then he stood up. He's a 5-year-old. He stood up. He's like, I didn't understand the controller. And he trailed off, and he started crying.
And then Butchman Lee did the same thing when I beat him.
Uh-oh.
Called you out, JR. This controller doesn't work, dude.
Hey.
And for the record, Butchman Lee will not be reinstated into JP Dub until you pass a series of tests. You failed the first one.
He actually he brought me a Nikolai Volkov doll
yeah.
to put next to my what's it called? What's his
Iron
name?
Sheik.
To put next to my Iron
Yeah.
Sheik. Thank you, man.
One of the greatest tag team tandems of the 80s.
Oh, it's great.
Great heels.
They're just standing there staring at me. And thanks, man.
Yeah.
Great addition to the studio.
Yeah. All jokes aside, Butchman Lee, we're glad to see you back, coming out, having fun.
Yeah,
it's a good time, man.
But yeah, he so I played his son. So his son got upset, and he comforted him. He chilled out. I tapped him on the shoulder. I'm like, "Come on, man, we got to play. It's it's me and you know." And so we played, and I lost in like a minute and 40 seconds,
Really?
maybe less. It was like a minute and 30 seconds.
Now, did he pin you?
Yes.
So he was bullshitting me about the controls. He knew how to pin.
I guess. Yeah,
I guess too.
But I didn't even know you can pin that fast in that game, because I've seen people, like, we did warm-up games, and I was playing for like 20, 30 minutes
Right.
on the warm-up games, and I got a little annoyed. I was like, how do you finish this shit?
Right.
And he beat me in like a minute and 40 seconds, and he was all happy about it, and I stand up, and Butchman whispers to me like, thanks, man. I didn't tell him I lost. I was like, I didn't say shit. I kept my mouth shut. I lost for real.
He did lose for real. He's like, yeah, thanks for letting my son win. Like, I didn't let him win.
But it's cool. We actually filmed some promos, so stay tuned to the Instagram page. There'll be a couple of short promos, and the YouTube channel will be some promos. Every person that was in the tournament did a little promo. That That was uncomfortable and awkward and fun as hell.
It was really fun, though. You know, I think once people kind of had to get settled in and get, you know, they were there, I think they wanted it. As, you know, everybody there that played was a wrestling fan at some point, and whether they are or not now, like, shout out to the champion, who we'll get to in a minute, Jason Voorhees Giorgi.
Yeah.
And he was an old school fan. I know he was super pumped to come out and play. And
he wasn't even supposed to.
Yeah,
It was a last-minute addition. I'm glad he came, man. He had a good time. We had a good time with him.
Yeah, and he cut a hell of a promo, too.
Yeah, he did.
It was pretty good. I think once people got comfortable, I mean, I myself, you know, I got up there, and I had a good thing going, and then you're like, oh, I'm not recording. I was like,
I've done that before.
What the fuck? But I think everybody, once they got up there and kind of felt themselves for, all it took was a few seconds, you know? And then them realizing that, hey, nobody else in this room is, like, judging you.
Right.
Like, we're all going to be stupid and silly and have fun, because that's what wrestling is.
That's when I put on my luchador mask.
Yeah. Fuck, we probably cut better promos than a lot of these guys who are top guys now when they first started.
That's
you
right.
know?
We're calling you out.
Yeah. We the top guys now, boy.
Yeah, so we had 3 systems going with the game.
That's right. Tres hombres.
2 official games going, and 1 like warm-up system where we were just playing around. For a little while, we were watching old matches. We watched the Hogan Andre the Giant WrestleMania 3 match. That was cool.
I think what else did we watch that night? We watched some other stuff.
Well, later that night, the ones that were the rest of us that stayed and cleaned up, we actually watched a bunch of New Japan stuff and
Omega versus Okada.
Yeah.
I think that was the first. I think they've had like 4 or 5 matches now.
And then you were trying So one of the things that we're trying to do with this show is to lightly cater to people like me who are trying to dip their toes back in the water, or people that aren't into wrestling, get them back into it or get them into it.
Right.
And so one of your ways is, so we watched we watched that Chris Jericho promotion with the Bullet Club, and
it's being the elite.
Being the elite. I always forget.
You guys can go on YouTube and subscribe to that. And what that is it was a YouTube channel started by Nick and Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks. I got the pop figures in the car. Mantle. Boys who do business. Boys who are changing the business of professional wrestling, and for the best. I mean, because when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it all, pro wrestling is just another awesome form of entertainment and escapism, so to speak. And these guys, they have a channel called Being the Elite. They do and I've talked about it several times on the show, and if you haven't went and checked it out yet, then I don't know what the hell is the matter with you.
Being the Elite.
The Elite. The Elite. It's
surprisingly entertaining because it's not wrestling. It's conversations and setup.
But it all is set up. It's all storyline and stuff that ties in with their matches and what they got going on, different promotions, and and just in general. I mean, video game stuff ties in with them. The New Japan does a lot of crossover stuff with like Tekken. Actually, when I was in Chicago this past weekend, I seen an older Asian lady that was wearing a Bullet Club Tekken shirt, and I got super fucking pumped about it. Like, what the hell is this? Like, it reminded me of like NWO days where you see people that like are wearing NWO shirts that you had. These shouldn't be wearing that. Yeah,
for life. Game's a whore.
But Being the Elite it's great storytelling, and it's awesome comedy, dude. It's funny. It is cheese for the sake of cheese, but it's amazing. I can't even put it into words.
There were only 4 of us left at the end, like watching after we cleaned up, and
we got a few episodes of it down.
Yeah. But it's surprising. It's really cheesy, but they're fully aware of the cheese factor, and they play on it, and it's fun. It's really entertaining. I was super surprised. When you first showed me, I was like, "Come on, Juice! Like you're like the lead singer of Handsome Prick. What's going on here?" And no, it's super entertaining. And then then you watch your matches afterwards, and it's because we watched a little Lucha Underground too,
right?
And it was awesome. Like it was just super entertaining, super fun.
And that's and like you said, going as far as like discovering different avenues. And my whole thing, my personal crusade, the Juice's crusade for this show and for JP Dub is to kind of get people away from WWE. I remember as a kid growing up, WWF, because of how big it was in the 80s, just was everything and everywhere. And but you also had the NWA, which became WCW, but it was never as mainstream. I mean, they still, all those dudes back in the day with Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and Magnum TAs, Road Warriors, you name it, they still drew. But it was all like southern territories, you know. It wasn't like nationally spread.
That's what she said.
Like butter. It just wasn't as big as WWF. For whatever reason, you know, I mean, Vince knew what the hell he was doing, and he went for global domination, and he achieved that. But I was always the kid as a fan, like, they still had great programming on. WCW had, like, Saturday night. I mean, this is before the Nitro. I was watching that shit before Nitro even debuted. I watched the first Monday Nitro when it came on. You know, I was there for when Hogan did the heel turn and went NWO. Every big WCW moment, you know, I was there for as a kid. And I enjoyed it more. And because at the time, and it's kind of WWE is kind of repeating itself, because they are in a position now, like much like they were back in the day, where kind of these really over the top characters, you know, just super cheesy. I mean, not so much that, but just blandness. It became super bland and boring. You know, there's nothing interesting until they got a little vulgar with the Attitude Era and all that crap. But
it's currently real repetitive.
Yeah, it's so repetitive. It's, you know, if you want to get in a brief news thing, Monday Night Raw this week, we saw Roman Reigns defeat Bobby Lashley for the right to fight Brock Lesnar again. Say it with me, Sret. Again. For the fucking Universal title. And I'm sure everybody listening right now, and everybody who's not listening that is aware of this, is so pissed off. But my rebuttal is, how do you know you're not being trolled? You know, I've heard rumors and innuendo that Hogan was he's signed back with the company.
This is a great rumor.
Yeah, I love it. I actually do love it. And I'm sorry if there's members of the black community that don't like it, because you don't like Hogan for what he said. I'm not condoning that, you know, but I'm talking about the character, not the man himself, you know. So now we got that out of the way. But the rumors I've heard is there's going to be a triple threat match at SummerSlam, where it will be Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, or as I like to call him, Bobby Lavishly.
Zoinks!
Whoa, Scoob, which way to go, man? I like that. Scooby Stacks. Scooby. And so Roman Reigns, Bobby Lavishly, a.k.a. Bobby Lashley, and Brock Lesnar for the Universal title, with Hogan being the special enforcer. And the whole idea is to, I guess, to help. And let me remind you guys, this is just rumor and innuendo. I don't know if this is going to happen. You know, this could be just some dirt sheet boogie type shit. Who knows? But the story goes, Lashley's supposed to go over those two in the match and win, and you get your first African-American Universal Champion, and Hogan is the man raising his hand. So I think maybe they're trying to do a good PR thing with that to kind of get more people to accept him being back. Because there has been, and we've talked, I don't think we've talked about it yet, because it just happened recently since episode 16, when we were all like, yeah, great, Hogan's back. And then in the JP Woo, Juice Pro Wrestling Universe group on Facebook, there was a couple people that they weren't so happy when I posted that the New Day and Titus O'Neil were, you know, they're African-American wrestlers in the WWE, weren't too stoked on Hogan. They're like, does he deserve to be there? Yes, because of who he is, what he did. But, you know, and I get where they're coming from, rightfully so. How do you, when you say something that hateful, how do you take that back from the people that you hurt? You know, I mean, it's a long road, but they didn't dog him. All they basically said was, we want to see him really work towards improving himself and changing and doing whatever. So we'll see how that plays out. But my whole point of that story is there were a lot of people who were kind of salty about it, and they were like, fuck Hogan, and they were African-American, and, you know, I can't hate on them for feeling that way. That's their choice. But like I said, it all goes down to the character. You know, the character Hulk Hogan was by no means a bigot at all, and he still to this day gets me pumped up. So I'm ready and willing to go along with the ride, and I hope at some point all the rest of you guys can too. So that's just a story I've heard.
That'd be exciting if it happened that way.
I think it would. I
don't even watch any of that stuff, or I haven't before, like all the Roman Reigns stuff. But from what I have watched, he's just incredible. He's just not exciting. And I've listened to interviews, and he's a boring talker.
Dude,
and he's
really bad.
I don't understand why they chose him. His super move and that whole like shotgun cock of his arm.
The Superman punch.
Superman punch.
Yeah.
That like that thing he does.
Yeah.
Is so like adjust it. It's so fucking dumb.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so bad. It's not even cheesy funny. It's just
it's Vince's got a hard on for the guy. He's pushing him. He's a handsome dude. He's a good looking dude. He's built.
Yeah.
You know, and the kicker is he's a part of that Samoan dynasty, dude. He's a part of the Rock's lineage. His
tweak
family.
his shit. Tweak his moves. Tweak something.
Here's the thing they need to do, and everybody's been saying this for a while. They need to turn him heel.
Yeah.
You cannot, because what they're doing is John Cena version 2.0. They're taking a guy in there, except at one point, Cena was somewhat kind of a heel when he was the whole rapper, the Doctor of Thugonomics. That shit. I hated him then because I'm like, man, is this where wrestling's come to? We got Marky Mark now in the fucking in the mix. If Roman was to turn heel, I think he could be a strong heel. I think that would accent more of the positives for him as a character than being a face does, exploiting his weaknesses on the mic. And he can have a good match. I will give him that. But I'm just not a fan of him. You know, because he's being forced down your fucking throat. Yeah. I don't feel like
you
back
in the last 4 years, 2 of the WrestleManias were him and Brock or him and Undertaker.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Yeah, it was. You're basically right. It was basically either Roman Reigns and Brock or Brock and the Taker. You know, like people get sick of hearing that shit. And to bring up another thing I saw in Juice Pro Wrestling Universe, JP Woo, you can join the group on Facebook right now. Woo! There was a comparison because everybody's pissed about this. It's Brock and Roman Reigns, and then someone was saying, well, it's not that much different than we used to get Rock and Stone Cold back in the day, you know, fighting for the Intercontinental or the World title belt. How many times did those guys fight? And I think they're the only ones, well, maybe not now because I can't keep count of, we don't keep count, how many times Lesnar and Reigns have fought at WrestleMania. I think twice now. But as far as I know, Rock and Hogan are the only guys who have fought 3 times, main evented 3 WrestleManias. None of those matches were bad. But the question this guy presented was, why is it that we can't accept Lesnar and Reigns like we could Stone Cold and The Rock? What was different in people's opinions? So that's kind of something I would like to know too. If you guys want to leave comments, interact on our YouTube page, Facebook, Twitter, anything Juice Pro Wrestling, Instagram. What's your guys' opinion on that? What's your take? I could sit there and tell you, and my answer is simple: is those 2 guys were more entertaining in all. When you there's a thing in professional wrestling. There's a saying, the it factor. Okay, and now sometimes that gets a little misconstrued or fucked up because people will think, well, the guy's got a body, you know, he could do a couple of moves or he can talk, but he's lacking in every, you know, certain areas. The Rock and Stone Cold, I don't think. Once they hit their strides, they were firing on all cylinders. There was nothing, I mean, entertainment, you want to talk, talking-wise, wrestling-wise, storytelling, everything they did made you believe, which is the end game of professional wrestling, to get you to believe that this shit's going down and to believe in the story they're telling you. And you can't do that with Reigns. You know?
Yes.
I don't know. And I think fans have a lot to do with it.
You can barely do it with Brock.
Yeah, I mean, and Brock's cool, and he's believable because of who the fuck he is and his, you know, his pedigree. But at the same time, I think people are sick of it. You know, I mean, you got a champ who's never there. It's a different story when you got a guy like him. You know, okay, say he's there, but he only shows up a few times a month because he is a huge draw, kind of like Andre used to be back in the day. You know, even though Andre wasn't the champ. He wasn't always on WWE TV. He was getting loaned out to different promotions and shit because he was the draw. He was that guy who could put asses in seats. And Lesnar is very much like that. But, I mean, he's to the point now where he's like, fuck, man, he might not show up for a couple months. But he holds the belt. This ain't UFC, you know? And I'm pretty sure at some point UFC would be like, hey, motherfucker, get out there and at least talk some shit about somebody. Want to talk some shit? And do something, you know? It's just, long story short on that, it's got some stank on it, and I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Yeah. So let me know what you guys think about that because I know you hate it too. So let hate fill your heart, so Vince can feel it. But getting back to the tournament though, shout out to the winner of the tournament. Like I said, from Hobart, Indiana, Jason Voorhees Giorgi. Now, a quick briefing on what happened at the tournament is, as you all are pretty much well aware of, the Juice dominated. You know, I mean, I left bodies to lay to rest, and
there was some controversy.
There's a little bit of controversy.
I used that same controller that JR used. It was fishy.
You think it was the controller too?
Yeah, I do. I told you that night I started screaming and stuff. That right bumper Couldn't block anything.
The right bumper was a motherfucker. Well, we switched, and we had a better match the second time. And it came down to the original finals were me and Butchman Lee. So Big Juice Stud and Butchman Lee, the be-all, end-all. And long story short, I whooped that candy ass. I don't know why I sound like Stone Cold when I did a rock fucking thing. Whatever, we could keep that in. So I beat him, and that was it. And I didn't want to go home with the title, though. You know, I felt like we're going to have a prize for someone. I don't want our prize to leave with us.
Right.
You know, like, so basically I eliminated myself and left everybody that was in the losers bracket. And Lord knows there were a lot of you.
There was everybody but you.
Yeah, and that's right. Everybody knows.
Yeah, so we pretty much did a second tournament.
Right. We restarted that shit, and it came down to Darren Stone Cold Stone and Jason Voorhees Giorgi in the most epic match I've seen in a long time. And this is a crazy match, right? So, and here's the cool thing I thought we did as far as like ending the tournament, as far as like their match, which I'll get to in a second, why it was special, and the way we ended it. Because we started off, the rules were, it was pretty simple. There was rope break was on, but it was a no DQ match. So if you wanted, and I did that, it's pretty advantageous for people that didn't have any knowledge with the game. Like if you knew how to go out and get a weapon and that would help you out, it's, you know, you're welcome. So there was that rule. There was no interference on, even though Giorgi was kind of in his practice rounds was. So I would have won, man, but this guy kept coming out and kicking my ass.
We didn't take out the interference thing.
Yeah, he got a little NWO'd up, you know?
He lost like once or twice that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think the first 2 times.
Yeah, so if you hear his promotion, that's where it comes from. Is because he got his ass kicked because, by not the other player.
Yeah. He did a hell of a victory dance and an ode to Shawn Michaels, even though he won the strap with The Undertaker. But, you know, he was a big HBK fan, so you guys can go on the Juice Pro Wrestling Facebook page and check that out.
Watch
Some fun shit.
Super entertaining video.
Yeah, it was really awesome. But getting back to the match of the night was the intergender match. Intergender. Did you catch that?
Uh-huh.
The intergender match. It was Darren. What do they say in South Park? It's like, buck up, buckaroo. It's so bad. I love it. Darren Stone Cold Stone, Darren Elvis Stone, to those of you that know him, the man, casual fan of Handsome Prick. He chose Trish Stratus. And this was what? This was like what would you call that? The semifinal?
Yeah.
Yeah. The semifinal match in the second round since Juice departed because he's fucking flossing dentally all over these motherfuckers. He picks Trish Stratus. Giorgi picks The Undertaker. And I'm just like, what? I thought Stone was like, I don't give a fuck about this. You know, I thought he was just like, whatever. Because there was also a boy named Joey Gregor. Joey, next time I see you, I'm coming for you. He lost like the first match or two, and then I think he was really disheartened.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. I don't want to play anymore. And like, so, Joey, next time I see you, you're going to get some barbed wire necklaces going. Fucking blood. But anyway, so I'm just sitting there thinking Darren picked this because he's doing the same shit. He's throw the damn towel! Throw the damn towel! I thought he was just going to say, fuck it. But I had never, in the 20 years it's been since I've played this game with everybody and anybody listening that knows, he was Trish Stratus. Giorgi was Undertaker, and they had, what, a 15, 16-minute long match?
Over 16 minutes.
And I think Trish Stratus controlled much of the match.
Yeah, most of the time.
There was very much a lot of stratisfaction going on. And it very much looked like The Undertaker was indeed going to be the dead man. It was cool. You know, there were so many near falls. It was like watching like real
so many
wrestling.
Near falls. So many Aquafina 2-liter Aquafina bottles being thrown.
So many bitch slaps.
So many bitch slaps.
And the pushes like that.
Yep. So many punches to the breasts.
And that's punch to the breast. And that's kick to the pussy. There was a lot of that going on, though. There were some low blows, I think, to Trish.
Yeah.
But yeah, long story short on that was match of the night, hands down. Like I think everybody was getting into it too, and that's cool. That brought back some of that nostalgia for me of playing this game.
Yeah, we were all kind of doing our own thing the whole night. Everybody's, you might watch a match or something, but during that one, we all were around the TV just waiting.
Yeah, and we had another cool thing we were doing, not to get off subject, but just briefly for a moment, wrestling theme music we had playing during the whole day.
Oh yeah, it was great.
There's like 35 tracks, old school wrestling theme songs where it was $1 Million Man or Hulk Hogan or Iron Sheik. We had Taz. We had some old school ECW, some old school Steiner Brothers, WCW, NWO, Wolfpack, and Black and White. And we also shout out to Matthew Lee Massey, a.k.a. Papa Buck, father of the Young Bucks. You know JP Dub was definitely rocking the soundtrack to All In and Warriors Cry and Being the Elite. So I had a good time with that. But going back to the match, though, the intergender match, I like I said, I was just blown away. It brought me back to, like, you know, and not just with No Mercy, because No Mercy essentially was the same game as, like, WCW, NWO Revenge, but just improved and tweaked a little. It brought me back to those days, like 98, 99, 2000, hanging out with your buddies, like pounding some shitty beer like Ice House, and, man, going at it all night on that damn fucking Nintendo 64. And it was great. It was a great time. So Stone gets eliminated, and then who'd it come down to?
It was son of Tatanka. Son of Tatanka, a.k.a. Danny Rathburn.
Shout out to Danny Rathburn. Thanks for coming out, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah, when he heard about the tournament, he was one of the first people that signed up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he got super excited. He's like, "When are you doing it? When are you doing it? I got to make sure I be there." And he wasn't sure he could make it, and then he was like, "I'm on my way."
That's great, and you know, we're glad you did, and you know, get more people next time and show up next time, and we'll love to welcome you with open arms.
Yeah, it was him and Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, for the title, for all the guts, the glory, the gold. I'm sure if you haven't seen it yet, go on our Facebook page. And Twitter and Instagram, and you could see some shots of the first ever world title belt for Juice Pro Wrestling. It was pretty cool. You know, we got I had this great idea, like, because, you know, we had something we wanted to do. We got the weight belt just to let everybody know. I kind of wanted to keep it secret until we got it done. A lot of this was kind of last minute stuff, and unfortunately, we're kind of competing with next door activity that was going on at the record shop, which, you know, sorry, Tom, we weren't trying to rain in on your parade. It was just bad booking on our part. We're booking like WWE or some shit. But I think it all worked out in the end. And we went and checked out a show that was at the, you know, the Record Bin. It was pretty cool. So nothing but love and respect for Tom Lodge's Record Bin from JP Dub. Anyways, what was I saying?
You were talking about the last match.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're talking about the belt.
The last match. But the belt, our original idea for the championship, like the prize we wanted to do, was Sreten had a great idea of using the weightlifting belt, like, you know, kind of like the old school Hollywood Hogan, and going back to, you know, new school, like Being the Elite. The Young Bucks and a lot of those guys that were smaller, they were always considered light heavyweights. And on one of the episodes of Being the Elite, like, Cody gives them all customized weight belts, and he's like, "You're going heavyweight, dude." And he still wears his now, and it says American Nightmare on the back.
Yeah.
And it's more great storytelling and badassery. But Sreten had this idea, so we got a Gold's Gym weight belt, and I was going to throw some decals on it. Big Ed the Assassin, who was not here with us tonight because he's out in Mexico having some fun with the chicas and the chanclas.
Made a phone call during the tournament.
Yeah, he did. You guys will get to hear that. We did have a phone in live from Mexico during the Nintendo 64 tournament. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. And to rectify the problem, it really wasn't going to work in a timely manner. So hopefully next tournament we can do something awesome with that for you guys. Give you something cool to win. And I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. And I was kind of stressing about it, you know. And Ed's like, "Man, I'm making an executive decision." He's like, "We're looking on Amazon stuff and just trying to get, like, you know, some not super expensive replica belts or, like, you know, smaller scale toy belts." And they had the old school Winged Eagle, WWF Winged Eagle belt. And I was like, man, the price was right. I had to get it. I thought it was cool. That was the belt that was representing the game. And shout out to Denise for throwing the decals on that mother, because it looked really tight. Green Door logo, Green Door Bookstore, 220 Main Street, downtown Hobart, Indiana. That in the Juice Pro Wrestling podcast logo.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
And I'll never forget, because I remember, like, Jason was leaving. He's like, "All right, man, you know, thanks, dude. That was really cool. Let me know next time. I was having a good time." And he's leaving empty-handed. I was like, "Dude, like, you gonna take your belt with you?" And he's like, "What? Like, I get to take it with me?" He was like stoked about it.
So it was an awesome belt.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was super awesome belt. I think as of right now, as we're speaking, he's probably at like close to 40 likes on his Facebook picture post that he did. Yeah. So I think a lot of people are jelly out there. So for all you people that seen what happened with Mr. Voorhees, just know you'll have an opportunity next time.
Coming soon.
Yes. But yeah, so what we ended up doing, we did that with the belt, and I thought it was a great prize. And at the end, like I said, I didn't want to walk away with it, nor did I want Sreten to walk away with it, even though he was probably like...
Yeah, there's no chance of that.
Yeah. It's like, it won't filter on my list.
Well, I chose... So we also did a thing where whoever you chose as your wrestler, you had to stick with that guy. And my dumbass chose Andre the Giant for, tradition's sake. And I didn't know how to play with him. Actually, I don't know how to play with any of the guys, but... That's not an excuse. I just was...
Well, I think everybody... Well, at least a couple of people threw that out the door. Because I was Taz the whole time.
Yeah.
Who was it that switched? Was it Son of Tatanka?
No, you know what they did? When you won everything, and then you won the match with JR, and you won the rematch with JR, then we kind of did the whole tournament again. Oh. Actually, JR didn't go again because he had to take off.
Yeah.
But all the rest of us did, and then we chose different people. But I still... stayed with Andre.
Yeah, because I was going to say Stone was Stone Cold.
Yeah.
And then the Son of Tatanka was someone else, too.
He was Mankind.
Yeah, he was Mankind, and then he switched. Oh, well, that's... Okay, so...
Oh, no, he was Mankind in the finals.
Getting back to the finals match. We're sitting there, right? And I'm, like, thinking, like, what could we do to kind of, like, do, like, a real promotion type thing, you know? Yeah. Like, even though this is, an old-school digital platform we're using, And the other great thing we did, which you guys will get to hear... And hopefully at some point in its uncut entirety, because it's just going to be super fucking silly. We did commentary, too. And not just me and Sreten, but everybody who was participating that was watching the main screen setup did their own version of commentary. And it was pretty cool. It was a blast. We cut promos. Just everything that was kind of as it relates to professional wrestling. But going to this final match, I wanted to make it something special. I'm like, okay, this is the title. It's on the line. Someone's going to get it. I didn't want it to be just the regular match, even though we weren't necessarily doing regular matches. But, as far as what we were doing. And I'm like, how can I pull a Vince McMahon, a Vinnie Mac, Juice McMahon? And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. You guys are going to fight for the first ever N64, JP Dub, Green Door Network, Green Door Books Heavyweight Championship. You know where they're going to fight it out at? Do you know?
No.
In a fucking steel cage. So yeah, I was super proud of myself for that. And I think everybody else there was like, yeah, I think...
Oh, everybody's excited.
Yeah, everybody was. And
it was cool. Everybody was an awesome sport. There was nobody that was like, fuck that.
Yeah, except for Butch.
Well, they had a little controversy with that right trigger, right bumper.
The right bumper. Like you said, everybody was super cool. Everybody genuinely really had fun. And I'm kind of glad like it wasn't like super huge. Like, at least to start, and maybe as we build this thing and it grows, because I would like to do something like this maybe once a month.
Yeah.
Or once every other month.
Yeah.
I think it would be really cool for everybody in the community and outside to just come and have fun and reminisce and, just fucking rock it. Have a great time. Because that is, if you were there, then and you know what kind of time you had. And it was great. I think even the people that went home and lost, we ended up getting pizza for everybody.
Yeah.
JR... Butchman Lee brought a shitload of Albanese gummy bears.
He helped all our diabetes.
Oh yeah, I kept sugar blues. I kept sprinkling those motherfuckers down my throat.
Oh, they were so good.
Yeah, the Dreamsicle ones are my favorite.
Yeah, they're really good.
I should call them Juice-sicle ones. But yeah, so it breaks down to, and there'll be pictures up. The final screenshot. I think the final match in the cage. I was outside having a smoke, I think, and I see Jason jump up, and it was like a minute 30 or some whatever it was into the match. He just climbed the fuck out of the cage.
We were all so used to the match before was like almost 17 minutes long. So some people went out for cigarettes.
Right.
Like I stuck around, but I was barely paying attention. I was like talking to somebody. Suddenly you hear, oh,
yeah, yeah,
hear, yeah. And he's like, I won.
Yeah.
I won. And it was done.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit! It was less than 2 minutes.
Yeah,
a minute and a half or something.
It was very brief.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Sorry, Son of Tatanka.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. He's like, all I did was, he's like, I got free of the whatever they were trying to get in the clutches. He's like, I got free and I just climbed up the fence.
And he got over.
And he won.
He said, "Fuck this, I'm out."
Yeah.
Smart move. Shout out once again to Jason Voorhees Giorgi, our inaugural champion, the first ever Nintendo 64 vintage video game beatdown.
But I know he told us somebody messaged him or he saw it on Facebook. He wasn't doing anything. He was just chilling at home around 3 o'clock,
actually,
4 o'clock,
I think it was,
like
I had posted something and Mike Barth had tagged him in it.
Oh, okay.
And he's been talking about, and we will, one of the perks, and I briefly talked to Jason about it. I've always wanted to have him on the show, but yeah, I mean, you won the tournament, so you're definitely going to be on and talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about as it pertains to pro wrestling. And good job, man. It was a great time, and he, like I said, he took photos right away when he got home with the strap. It looked good, man. It's a good-looking belt, and he got super excited when he got to take it home. He was like, really?
The belt takes great pictures.
Yeah, it does. I kind of just want to walk around town with it, you know?
Yeah.
I wish I had the body of Scott Steiner so I could just do that, and every time someone called me a huge nerd bitch or something, I could just, who got the best body? Me and my brother, we got a largest house in the world. You know, little Scott Steiner for you.
Last night I went to bed. I was watching, I YouTube Scott Steiner promos. Oh,
they're
great.
so bad that they're awesome. You know? That's what he does. He'll have the long pauses in between because he doesn't know what the fuck
Ric
he's talking.
Flair, you cheat me, and then ever since you got on the executive position, you've been driving the ball, and the corporate got to your head.
Yeah. And he's like, I take your wife in the back, show her what the big bad booty that is all about. Holler if you hear me.
But what's funny is I watched another interview that's only maybe a year or two old.
Yeah.
And it's him, you know, we've been talking about he's gotten older and he's gotten smaller and all that stuff. So now he actually, you know, when he's not under all those lights, he looks like an old man.
Yeah.
But still, he's like, they're like, well, you know, can you tell us something about, you know, still traveling and wrestling and stuff? He's like, some of the perks are still, you go out there and, you know, all the
hooches,
sexual activities and acrobatics that you can still, you know, participate in outside the ring. You know, that's still a cool thing. And I was like,
really?
What? Yeah. I'll find that clip.
I need to find out if Scotty's ever been married. I don't think he has.
Yeah, I don't
like,
know.
if you were him, would you be married? Who
don't
would you
know.
want to be tied down to? I'm going to throw that question out there for everybody listening. If you were Scott Steiner and had that body in his prime, do you think you could be tied down to any woman? And I don't care. Don't say Sable because Sable was hot, but come on, man. I mean, those old school fake boobs can only get you so far. But that's an interesting question for those of you out there in the JP Woo, the Juice Pro Wrestling universe. If you think Scotty, the man Steiner, could be tied down by one woman, who would it be?
I'd also, I have a second question, but not from me, from Chris, from Pricks on Flicks.
All right.
I had a question real quick, and he's sitting here, he's popping in, and he wanted to ask real quick.
Yeah, bring him on in.
Did you ever see when Buff Bagwell did his little guest spot on the Gigolos?
Yeah, I did. It was American males.
It was so graphic too. He's like pumping away on some like 70-year-old woman.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was great.
I was like, I
he's
used to
buff.
like this guy.
He's buff. He's the stuff, and the old ladies just can't get enough. Where's my dress? It's all. Sorry, Joe. I know you're a big Buff Bagwell fan. Joe of Musically Meditate's gonna have a war with us. You talk shit about Buff? No, Joe.
That's Chris from Pricks on Flicks. Like,
what up, Chris?
Podcast.
Yeah, check it out.
Yep.
Like talk about movies, drink beer.
Thanks for letting me pop on and ask a celebrity question.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Buff Bagwell. I watched a couple of interviews with him too.
Yeah.
But I don't really like him, so anything he talks about is just
I
weird.
liked him more when he was in the American Males, believe it or not. When it was him and Scotty Riggs. They were like supposed to be like these, I guess, like male stripper type personas, and they had that really gay, cheesy song that we played on here. American males. Yeah, you guys check that song out too. Maybe we'll throw that up on the YouTube playlist for you.
Yeah. Let's finish the show off with some news.
All right. Let's go on. Here, one big thing I did hear today via Twitter was Alex Shelley of the Motor City Machine Guns. Great talent. Guy wrestled in TNA, Impact for a long, long time. Ring of Honor, New Japan. Like I said, one half of probably one of the best tag teams of the last 20 years. These guys remind me of like a modern day Rockers. Chris Sabin, the Motor City Machine Guns. Alex Shelley announces his retirement on social media. So, yeah, it really kind of sucks. Another thing I seen on here was Chris Jericho on the possibility of appearing on Ring of Honor TV, which he says is a definite possibility. And another fan asked him if he's willing to go to Impact Wrestling, and to which his reply was, of course. That, to me, that's huge shit. You know, Jericho has this cruise that's coming up.
Sorry. The promo for the cruise makes me laugh.
Oh, it's great.
He's got a cruise coming up. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
sorry.
It's the battle at sea. How do you say it?
Oh, I don't even remember.
Guys, watch. What is it? Not the latest episode of Being the Elite, but the one before it. So I think it's like 111. So, anyways, Alpha Club versus the Bullet Club on the Jericho cruise. It's going to be the Young Bucks and Chris Jericho, or the Bucks of Jericho, or Y2 Jackson, however they want to call themselves, versus Kenny Omega, Marty Scurll, and Cody Rhodes of the Bullet Club. So that's some shit you're never going to probably see again. Maybe you will. It's pro wrestling. Never say never. But it's big shit nonetheless. They're also going to be doing Ring of Honor versus Impact Wrestling on that cruise, which is another huge crossover. It's all these guys working together to get you, the fan, out of watching that garbage that is WWE. That really should stand for We Want Entertainment, because they just don't got it. You know, something else going up in the news. This past Sunday, actually the night, unfortunately, of the Nintendo 64 tournament, Impact Wrestling held their annual, I think the 16th annual Slammiversary pay-per-view at the Rebel Center in Toronto, Canada. Very, 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 very excellent show. From the clips that I've watched, a lot of these matches were 5-star matches. You had Brian Cage, which a lot of you may know as the Machine from Lucha Underground, walked out as the new X Division champion. Austin Aries retained the world title against Moose in a very, very hard, very stiff matchup that Moose, as a guy coming from the NFL, and he's only been wrestling for, say, maybe a handful of years, the guy he's pretty damn fucking good. They tore it up. Austin Aries is a top caliber, top athlete in the world of professional wrestling. So for Moose to go out there and hang with him and do the shit they did, them boys tore the house down. Another great match was Pentagon Jr. versus Sami Callihan. It was a hair versus mask match. That's some kind of shit they like to do in Mexico in the Lucha Libre scene. Pentagon came up with the win. He did the Pentagon driver, which is basically kind of a packaged pile driver onto like 4 sets of chairs. Very brutal. There was railroad spikes being stabbed into people's heads. A lot of swearing, you know, shit that's right up my alley. You know, that WWE is not going to, no longer can provide for you because they're impotent.
Check.
Yeah, right.
Check, please.
Su Yung retained her Knockouts title against, who did she fight? Allie, I believe it was. Or no, Madison Rayne. Madison Rayne challenged for the title. And it's kind of cool. Madison Rayne, former member of the Beautiful People, an old school kind of hot chick stable in TNA Impact Wrestling. Came out to her old theme, to a huge pop. Su Yung, she's like this creepy undead bride. She's like the female Undertaker chick. Great character, great story. Her entrance coming out, it's like all these undead brides bringing her out in a coffin. And then, like, when they get towards the ring, she, like, raises up and gets out. And it's creepy looking. She's, like, spitting blood and shit and, like, convulsing. And, you know, she looks like a dead, what do you call those Japanese, like, kabuki type?
Yeah.
She looks like that. You know, really cool character. So she wins. LAX retains their World Tag Team Championships against the OGs. The old school LAX, Homicide and Hernandez, who returned a few weeks ago, much to my surprise. Another just brutal fucking match. Great storytelling. What else do we have here? Johnny Mundo returned. He won a 4-way match with, I think, Bone Soldier from the Bullet Club. You guys will have to Google. I can't think off this is all mainly, I'm looking at ImpactWrestling.com, but I'm not looking at the shit that happened. This is just all purely from memory. So if I fuck up, Google it and forgive me.
I'm like looking. I thought I was looking at the same spot you're looking at. Where's he
mean,
reading this shit off of?
This is like, check it out. This is all I've.
Yeah.
So let me think of what else happened there. Oh, one more thought on that pay-per-view before we get to cutting out of that. There was a House of Hardcore match with one of my beloved hardcore legends, Tommy Dreamer, the innovator of fucking violence, versus Eddie Edwards, diehard Eddie Edwards. Total old school ECW brawl, like just blood, brutality, violence, great storytelling. And there's a clip, I'm sure a lot of you have seen it on Twitter, where a fan has an old school ECW replica title belt, not like the little toy one, but the real big replica, probably like $300-400 belt. And that was like one of the old cool things about ECW back in the day is when dudes would fight, fans would bring anything. Like they literally would bring a fucking kitchen sink and dudes would take and hit motherfuckers with it, all kinds of shit. Well, they're out fighting and fan gives Tommy the belt and he grabs it. You know, Tommy's former ECW champion. He was pretty much like the heart and soul of ECW, and he knocks the shit out of Eddie Edwards with it. And I don't know. A lot of you, whoever's listening, you may not think that's cool, but you just don't know what the fuck's up. That was a nostalgia factor for the Juice. So
yeah.
I haven't sat down and watched this pay-per-view yet in its entirety. I will be, and so I can kind of give you my thoughts about it on Twitter, and I've kind of already posted some things. Another newsworthy thing, at least in the minds of We Were Entertainment, WWE. They just, Stephanie McMahon on Monday Night Raw announced the first ever WWE all-women's pay-per-view, which is cool. Women's wrestling in this day and age it's fucking amazing. They're not just, you know, tits and ass. There's actual good physicality and storytelling, and there's a lot of women who go hard in the paint with men in these intergender matches, and some of it is like pretty damn brutal, and you got to give it up for these girls. Any woman that's been in pro wrestling and been fighting for something like this for decades now. Really cool for them, but guess what? TNA did it like 5 years ago. You know, they had their first all-women pay-per-view, and WWE's pushing it. They're not saying that's their first time. They're saying the first ever, like, because they only seem to want to acknowledge themselves as the only promotion.
Buttholes.
Yeah. Dicks.
Dicks.
So I think that's going to be called WWE Evolution. I don't know when that is airing, so you guys can check on that. I'm sure it'll be all over everywhere. Everybody's talking about it, but it'll be cool for them. And supposedly there's supposed to be like 50 women competing on this show, so I'm sure they're going to bring people back. You might see like Trish Stratus and Lita, and you know, who knows? They may dig up Mae Young. I don't know, but you know, kudos to all the women participating in that. And every girl who gets a chance to shine on their stage, because it is huge. You make money when you work for them, you know. Doesn't mean I gotta like what you fucking do, because they write some bullshit.
It's boring.
So, yeah, that's why we watch different shit like New Japan and Lucha Underground and Ring of Honor and Impact, and there's tons more shit out there. So it's one of the reasons why we're here to tell you about it. So on that fact,
promote.
Yeah, we're gonna promote the shit out of this motherfucker.
Promote.
Join the JP Woo, that's Juice Pro Wrestling Universe. That's our official Facebook group on Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook at Juice Pro Wrestling, Instagram at Juice Pro Wrestling. We're on Twitter at JPDub Podcast. You can email us, jpdubpodcast@gmail.com. We are available. You can sign up and listen to us where, Sret?
You can listen to us on greendoornetwork.com. You can listen to us on Green Door Network and Apple and all podcasting platforms. You can listen on the easiest way is just look up Juice Pro Wrestling podcast on YouTube, Google Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, iTunes podcasts, or any of those things. Whatever you use to listen to podcasts, listen on there. If you don't listen to podcasts and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, look it up on YouTube after you fucked yourself.
Oh, man, I've done that quite a few times.
Make sure you share with your friends.
Yeah,
if you have anybody around you that you know likes pro wrestling or likes entertainment, even likes soap operas.
Yeah,
why don't you
or may want to get into it, you know?
Tell them to listen.
Yeah, you never know what you might find. Yeah, I honestly think there's a lot of people that even listen to the show that aren't pro wrestling fans that enjoy the show purely for the entertainment value. And that's what you'll get with a lot of the wrestling shit that we're going to tell you about, as well as great athleticism and brutality, which I'm all about. So yeah, check it out. Come see Handsome Prick at the Cobra Lounge on the 26th with Noisem. Tomorrow. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Hey, for Sreten the Savage, this is Big Juice Stud signing off saying, wad 'em up, wad 'em up, wad 'em up, wad 'em up, wad 'em up! You gonna do sex to me?